perspective, as a creative entrepreneur, what are the most pressing challenges that government policies need to address in our entertainment sector?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me again. I think we all know why we're laughing, because the low-hanging fruit, the one everybody, shouts day and night now, including Baba, is infrastructure. But if we want to delve into more detail, I think that infrastructure is not just about building new things. There's a lot of things already in the pipeline. There are already a lot of players doing a lot of things, and have been doing a lot of things for many years. So it's about harnessing, all of those positives, those steps that are already being taken, and see what kind of empowerment. That's the low-hanging fruit. What can we do to empower those guys or those institutions that are already existing, that are already doing something towards solving a lot of these challenges? So it's not just to shout the rhetoric of infrastructure, but then that also raises other questions: funding, cost of finance. If we can start getting free money, which doesn't exist, right? Money costs something, and we have to figure out how to go about it. And I'm sure even in your business as well, Jets, in any business, money is very critical. But where does it come from, and how much do you have to pay to access that money? That's a big challenge. So if we can start looking at more opportunities to have single digits, loans, if we can have more grants. But beyond that, even if the money was readily available now, the way we squander it
money
is
management.
Creative corruption is another layer, but we won't go into that one for now. There's a lot, but the cost of funding is a big thing. But there's a plethora of challenges. But those two things, would go a long way if we're able to creatively, address, some of those.
Thank you. Solomon, as co-founder of Sahara Jets, how can private aviation services support Nigeria's creative economy by implementing logistics for events, artists, and cultural exports? And secondly, are there opportunities for public-private partnerships in this space?
Hello. Okay. Thank you for that. I think that logistics is a big thing, right? When it comes to with Darian and when you're doing music and touring and things of that sort. Not so much private jets in the way people think about it, but just large scale transportation, right? One of the biggest challenges when artists are looking at touring is it lives and dies in the main city in the country. So it's usually Lagos or Abuja, right? But there's a lot of opportunity in some of the I guess secondary cities, right? But the challenge is transportation, right? How do you get the people who are interested in, say, the artist to those locations cost effectively, right? And I think that's a big challenge. And I think it's a huge opportunity for government to step in and say, hey, how do we subsidize getting people around in order for us to help grow the creative economy, right? And I think that there's some conversations going, Baba probably is better place to speak to that, where you're talking about a national airline and all of those things. But I think that things like that, most people don't know, but when you look at airline costs, the taxes is a majority of what you're paying.
That's right.
Right? So it literally means that the government has carte blanche to say, hey, we want to cut those down to allow people move freely, because if people move freely, there's more trade, there's more everything, really. This is the reason why when you look at countries in Europe, you're going between countries and it looks like you're going between cities, because someone has decided that it makes more sense to get the people around than to keep them where they are, right? So in terms of assisting the creative economy, I think the government has all it needs